House of the Dragon sparked a lot of discussion among fans, especially about the plot throughout the season. Some viewers believe the narrative contains some discrepancies, leaving various plot holes that don't suit the story or the Game of Thrones universe. While there are confusing elements, these are not plot holes. What are these plot holes that are not really plot holes? Also, which Daemon storyline could the show not bother to develop? Firstly, a couple of book events that could happen in House of the Dragon Season 2. First, blood and cheese. The Dance of Dragons begins with Lucerys' death, but things quickly pick up steam after that. Daemon recruited two men known simply as Blood and Cheese in order to carry out his vow of revenge on his wife's kid. While they wait for Queen Helaena, they enter the Red Keep clandestinely and bind Alicent. Blood and Cheese force Helaena to decide which of her boys should die, and as Jaehaerys is the oldest and the heir, she ultimately chooses Maelor. Instead, Blood viciously murders Jaehaerys, which ultimately causes Helaena to fall into a depressive state because she is unable to look at Maelor because she chose him to be killed. Daemon naming the dragons on each side of the battle was another significant storyline component of the Season 1 finale. Jaehaerys shouts out to the Dragon Seeds, offering knighthood and money to anyone who could claim one of the unclaimed dragons that he mentioned earlier. Many died and were hurt while trying, but they were finally claimed. Seasmoke went to Adam of Hall, who appears to be a bastard of either Laenor or Corlys. Silverwing to Ulf the White, Vermithor to a bastard by the name of Hugh Hammer, and Sheepstealer to a little young female bastard by the name of Nettles. An important Daemon storyline. House of the Dragon hasn't bothered to grow. Undoubtedly, one of the most adored and divisive characters in House of the Dragon is Daemon Targaryen. Fans, however, feel that the producers of the Game of Thrones prequel are not treating him fairly enough. Not only were the interactions with his children, Baela and Rhaena, cut from the show, but fans also never had the chance to learn more about Daemon's marriage to his first wife, Rhea Royce. Furthermore, their sole encounter resulted in Daemon killing her, which was unheard of in the literature. In reality, one may only learn that Daemon was compelled to marry Rhea and that their union was incredibly unpleasant by reading the books. A Redditor commented that the series has instead devolved to Daemon throwing random slurs at his wife with no meaning. One of the major regrets among fans is the absence of any information regarding their marriage. There are actually a lot of overlooked chances, according to Redditors. A Redditor pointed out that it appears as though Rhea maintained contact with Otto or a council member. It struck me as odd that when we see her and Daemon together, she is repeating back to him word for word what he had stated during that meeting. Fans point out that House of the Dragon could have addressed a much more pressing issue than only Daemon's pointless animosity for his first wife. Another Redditor stated that they actually believe it's quite crucial to investigate the perspective of underage marriage and the reality that Daemon was actually a teenage boy when he was forced into marriage. We Light the Way. The 5th episode of Season 1 of House of the Dragon featured Rachel Redford as Rhea Royce, who was instantly killed off. Plot holes in House of the Dragon Season 1 that aren't really plot holes. Firstly, Aemma's C-section. Some fans feel that forcing Aemma to continue attempting to conceive a son, despite her challenging pregnancies, was one of Viserys' worst choices as a king. However, some viewers questioned the feasibility of Aemma's C-section and questioned whether the rationale provided for it was adequate. Although this appears to be historically incorrect and thus throws off the plot, it's vital to keep in mind that fantastical worlds might have unique rules that might not be applicable to the era they are based on. Even though it might appear out of place, the Maester explains how a C-section in the medieval style fits within the narrative. Secondly, Daemon survived in the Stepstones. The scenario where Daemon faces off against the Crab Feeder and his army captured the attention of the majority of viewers. While Daemon was out on an open field being shot at by numerous bowmen, several fans took issue with his ability to evade arrows. Even though this does seem improbable, it isn't isn't entirely absurd that a war veteran would know how to escape getting shot on a battlefield, especially with few barriers. Though Daemon's character may be protected by narrative armor at this moment, it isn't the most absurd battle sequence in the Game of Thrones universe. Thirdly, Laenor and Seasmoke save Daemon. Laenor obtaining the advantage over the crab feeder and the Triarchy warriors was another element of this fight scene that spectators found to be absurd. It was a little difficult to imagine Seasmoke was able to catch them off guard, given that they had been vigilant in scanning the skies for dragons before Daemon arrived. Several specific details helped to increase the plausibility of this scene. It's possible that the troops were less vigilant in inspecting their surroundings, since they were preoccupied with Daemon and assumed he was alone. The cloudiness of the Stepstones might also have given the smaller dragon cover for a covert strike. Next, Sir Criston kills Joffrey. Sir Criston's attack on Joffrey during Laenor and Rhaenyra's wedding was absolutely unbelievable to some viewers. Fans weren't convinced that he would not have received punishment for this crime because there didn't appear to be a reason for the assault and because there was no apparent cause. However, given his current mental condition, Criston was justified in attacking anyone who made a case for his unethical behavior. Furthermore, Alicent certainly shielded Criston from any punishment due to her position of power in the court and Viserys' lack of opposition, which may help to explain why there were no repercussions for his horrible conduct. Fifth on the list is the illegitimacy rumors. While the Targaryens all exhibit negative personality qualities, they do share a commitment to their home. Many viewers are perplexed as to why so many people, including members of the Targaryen family, didn't make a greater effort to cast doubt on Rhaenyra's children and their rightful claim to the throne. But one thing about the princes of bastard birth is that it's not as simple to disprove them as it might first appear. Rhaenyra also possesses Baratheon and Arryn blood, whose lines have attributes that fit the two princes' physical characteristics, though it's odd they don't appear like Valerians. We are now halfway through this list. Next, Alicent Not Being Punished. When Alicent used a knife to hurt Rhaenyra in Season 1, she made one of her worst choices. Some viewers aren't persuaded that Alicent wouldn't have been punished for attacking the heir after the king demanded a stop to the conflict in this scene. The fact that Alicent's deeds are simply forgotten, however, is not a plot flaw. She may have been harshly chastised or even exiled by another king, but Viserys the Peaceful is not only a nickname for him. Viserys' tendency toward passivity makes it understandable why he wouldn't want to respond to his wife's misbehavior. Next, Rhaenys escapes with Meleys. The sequence where Rhaenys interrupted Aegon's coronation was among the best in the first season. Though Eric warned her that was the first location they anticipated she would go after her escape, some people might be perplexed as to how she ended up with Meleys. It's probable that the Greens were unaware that Rhaenys was missing from her apartments because of the urgency to complete Aegon's coronation. It is also doubtful that the Dragon Keepers in the Dragon Pit would be affected by political unrest and attempt to prevent Rhaenys from mounting her own dragon because they are devoted to the dragons and the Targaryens. Eighth on the list is Seasmoke getting a new rider. The Blacks talked about the advantage of having more dragons on their side, including dragons with outriders like Seasmoke in The Black Queen. Fans are baffled as to how anyone could ride him into battle, seeing that his rider is still alive. A dragon typically won't allow another rider on them unless their current one has passed away, according to the general law in this realm. Although the intelligence of dragons hasn't fully been proven, and Laenor abandoned the dragon and hasn't been around Seasmoke in a while, it's possible that Seasmoke would allow another rider to claim him. Ninth on the list is Daemon's abusive behavior. One of the most perverse Targaryens in House of the Dragon is Daemon. Despite this, people were taken aback by his aggressive behavior toward Rhaenyra and thought it was out of character, given that he had previously protected her. Although at the time, it might have looked out of character for Daemon, it actually made a lot of sense, given his unstable personality. Despite the fact that he plainly cares about Rhaenyra, he has often shown known that he finds it difficult to manage his emotions. His tendency to badly express his feelings was consistent with the fact that he had recently lost a child, his brother, and was gearing up for battle. Lastly, the line of succession. The line of succession is one of the most intricate components of the series, and the primary factor that ignites the Targaryen civil war. Some viewers find it strange that Viserys was able to declare Rhaenyra his heir, despite Westerosi custom, as the law of the realm deems the first male son of the monarch to be the legitimate heir. While usually the king had the authority to pick an heir, King Jaehaerys let his great council select Viserys as his heir. Viserys' choice to make Rhaenyra his successor was unconventional, yet he was nonetheless permitted to do so by Westerosi custom. Dismissing this custom may appear to be a story device to stir up tension, but Viserys' choice was his to make, and it is for this reason that Rhaenyra has a legitimate claim to the Iron Throne. We have come to the end of today's video. Now you know the justifications for some of the seeming plot holes in House of the Dragon Season 1. What else do you want to know about the show? Let us know in the comment section. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.